Alright, it's about time. Hi, hello, my name is Tina. Welcome to this new video, and I love to talk about books. And it's time because I've been pushing off doing this video because I felt that I was not enough, that I did not watch enough animes, that I did not read enough mangas. So stop that. I'm in Japan. It's the perfect place to do this. I'm just too excited to make this. I made myself a matcha latte to survive this video because it's so hot today here in Japan. I'm filming in the hostel I'm volunteering, so excuse the mess around, but I might make this video in two parts. I'll see. If it's too long, I'll just make a poll so you will vote for the one you prefer. So yeah, let's jump into it. Okay, so maybe you clicked on this video but you have no desire to read any manga whatsoever. You're just supporting me. Either you are already a huge fan of mangas and you're reading a lot and you are curious to see if I'm gonna bring new recommendations to you or unknown recommendations. Either you're completely new and you want this guy to help you to begin with this very wide world of mangas and animes. So either way, I hope you'll get something from this video, and I just need to make two disclaimers. First, I'm in no way an expert about this. I might make mistakes, so just feel free to correct me in the comments, please. And second one, this is a non-exhaustive list. Of course, it's influenced by what I've read, watched, or the anime slash mangas I have on my radar. So of course there's a lot of good animes and mangas around here, so feel free to recommend a beloved mangas that you did not see here, or an anime for sure. Let's just really jump into it this time. So if you're completely new to this world, if you're a complete beginner and want to start some mangas or watch some animes, as the true weeb would say, I've got you. But first you need to know a little bit about the terms that comes around often, and those are the categories. These mainly used to target audience, you'll see later. But to me, they're not useful to choose which manga you want to read, and they're typically used to read mangas, not really for the animes. Let's just go through them real quick in the very wide way so you can just have them in mind and understand better why I want to choose the genre, rather, to help you choose the manga you want to read. So the first category is Kodomo, which means children. Those are the mangas that are targeted to children. Obviously, you have Pokemon, the most famous one. You have also Anpanman and Doraemon. Those are the big three, but there are others for sure. Next, you have the shonen. This is the most famous one according to me. This is mangas that are widely targeted for boys under 18, mostly during teenagers' years. Those are manga focused on action, friendship, and adventures. The big three for me, it's One Piece, Naruto, and Dragon Ball. Sometimes people put Bleach also with the big three, but for me it's really Dragon Ball. It influenced the whole generation. Next you have seinen for boys above 18 years old, and those contains more deeper themes, more darker ones. The most iconic are Berserk, Akira, Vagabond. I'll talk about them later, but those names, it's just for you to have a main idea of where you can categorize them. Next you have the shoujo for the girls under 18. Most of the times they are about romance, also friendship, but with lighter, more cute characters. And the iconic ones for this category are Princess Knight, Sailor Moon, Fruits Basket, and Clamp Card Captor Sakura. Next you have the Josei for women above 18. It's also about romance, but with more deeper and complex subject, as for the seinen. And you have, for example, Nana, Paradise Kiss. And next you have Yaoi, which is romance for love between boys, but aimed at a feminine public. And then you have the Yuri, which is the love between girls, and also it's mainly targeted for girls. So yeah, you can see why those categories doesn't help, because I'm a woman above 18 and I love to watch Pokemon, I love to watch Berserk. That does not define how you should read, it's just not working. So let's talk about the genre. So for the categories, action, adventure, friendship, but with a fantasy twist, we have for sure one of my favorite that has a special place in my heart, Naruto by Masashi Kishimoto. There are 72 volumes. It's finished. The anime is also finished. And that's the first one I watched ever. That's why it has a special place in my heart. But the story is about Naruto, who is 12 years old, orphan. He's a big prankster. He needs to bring attention to him. One of his biggest dreams is to become Hokage, the leader of the village. He wants to be recognized by the villagers who hate him because he is the home of a demon inside of him that attacked the village 12 years ago and was sealed inside of him, and people fear him. They cannot distinguish the demons from Naruto. That's why it's his biggest dream to prove his value, and despite all the hatred, he wants to begin his ninja training and to reach the first level of the ninja training, which is Genin. I watched the anime, but also I've read the manga because I couldn't wait for the anime to come out. And the anime is divided into part Naruto and then Naruto Shippuden. Naruto is really coming out of age, trying to make companions, about friendship, but he's also facing really dark moments. It's really darker than it seems, and especially in Naruto Shippuden. When I watched the anime, I remember that I was sometimes struck by how focused on boobs they are sometimes, but it doesn't remove the fact that the battles, the techniques, the ninja techniques are just so well done. The ninja system, the ninja world there is so interesting, and these have for sure one of the best combat battles I've ever seen. Even though at the end it drags a little bit, it goes always further and further and further. I think it could have ended in a different way, but still I remember how in awe I was watching it. The personality of Naruto, I've learned so much from him. Yeah, I got a little bit above those boobs focused, but that's really a huge thing of this period of time, I think. So yeah, just be aware of that, but it's just so good. I loved it. It's part of my core. Next, there is of course Bleach by Tite Kubo. There are 74 volumes of them. The anime is not finished yet, but soon I hope. There was a pause for so many years and now it's continuing, and the last season it's just so good. Well, it's about a secondary school student, Ichiko Kurosaki. He has the ability to see some ghosts following the accident that killed her mother, unfortunately, and he's living with his father and two sisters, and he's trying to cope with his life until he meets the Shinigami Urukia, and from there I want you to work things out. I don't want to say too much. It's quite old. I watched it. I've not read it, but I'm collecting the manga so I can reread it. That's showing how much I loved it. But the last season the animation is so beautiful. It's really a mainstay in the shonen adventures action genre, so could not recommend this enough to you. Of course, I have to talk about One Piece too by Eiichiro Oda. There are 111 volumes going on. The anime is also super long. If it was not for COVID, I would never, I think, finished it because I was moving so slowly through the story, but thanks COVID. This is the story about Shanks, a pirate who meets Luffy, a child. Luffy by accident eats the Gomu Gomu no Mi, which is the demon fruit of elastic rubber man, and so he gets the ability to be elastic, and he wants badly to be a pirate, but Shanks tells him, no, you're too young. So at 70 years old, Luffy leaves for the adventures, and his goal is to build a crew. Even if it's not one of my favorite because it drags so much and that I think the battles are a bit repetitive. I think that Luffy is very repetitive in what he's doing, and some of the characters are really undeveloped, according to me. If you're already watching it, if I say maybe Ace, underdeveloped. If I say maybe Edward Nugget, underdeveloped. Let's talk about it in the comments if you want. But all of that just to say, I cannot deny how Eiichiro Oda have crafted a huge, very diverse world with so many characters and such a unique creative world. I mean, yeah, I cannot deny that. I even started to collect the One Piece cards because the world is really beautiful. But the story is too long, according to me. Too long. So yeah, I don't remember if I said that it was still ongoing. and we don't know where it's gonna finish. I have my favorite characters, and I cannot prevent you and only encourage you to get on this boat and get on this journey, because this is such a mainstay in the anime slash manga world. Like, if you're watching One Piece, you can connect with anyone, I think, because of such a large audience that are watching it. We can all be in this together if you want. Find the courage to start it. I really feel you, and I can only encourage you. Next, How Not to Talk About Dragon Ball by Toriyama Akira. It's in 42 volumes, and there's an anime also. This is the story of Bulma, who encounters one day a very strong and resilient child named Sangoku. He has a tail like a monkey, and he has also a very valuable object, which is a crystal ball that Bulma is looking for very badly, but he doesn't want to give it up. It's a gift from his grandfather, Son Gohan, so they agreed to go on an adventure together to collect those crystal balls. It's one I did not read yet. I know I need to read it someday. I'll find the time at some point, but yeah, it's a real mainstay in the genre, and it's really beloved. So if this interests you, I can only recommend. Next, you have Fairy Tail by Hiro Mashima. There are 63 volumes of it, and also an anime that is finished. This is about Lucy, 16 years old, and she loves to read magazines about guilds. She herself practiced magic. She's using stellar keys and made contracts with some spirits to use the keys with the spirits, and she's desperately looking for a guild. She heard of Fairy Tail, but she also heard that this is a guild that brings a lot of problems, and from there you'll follow her adventures. And I watched it a long time ago, but I remember how much I loved the world building, the different arcs, which refers to a timeline in the story, and I loved the plot twists. I loved the characters so much, especially Happy. But this is also a manga slash anime that is starring a lot of women with big breasts. So that's a bummer, but also the women are very brave and strong, so that's a good point. I'll need to rewatch it to see if it's aged well. As for Naruto, but they have a special place in my heart for sure. Next, you have Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter, depends on how you want to pronounce it, by Yoshiro Togashi. There are 38 volumes. The manga is not finished due to the author's health. I don't want to get into it too much, but the conditions in which the mangaka, which is the author of a manga, are very tough for them, so they tend to get ill because of it. The last volumes took several years to come out, so yeah, not finished, but really so good. The anime too is not finished. This is about Gon Freaks. He's 12 years old, and he's only living with his mother on a remote island because his father disappeared. And when he learns that he disappeared to be a hunter and one of the greatest hunter, then Gon puts in his head to become one of the greatest hunter too, and take the exam to become a hunter. But this is one of the most difficult exam ever. On thousands of participants, only one most of the time succeeds, but he's gonna try it, and from there you follow his adventure. And this is such a precious manga slash anime. I watched the anime and it's so good. You see what companions he's making along the way, and I think that with Kirua they have one of the healthiest relationship in mangas ever. And one of the arc, the Ant-Man arc, really made me feel dread. I had goosebumps and I really felt terrorized to watch this arc, which was the first time I ever felt it while watching an anime, so one of my favorites for sure. Cannot recommend you enough to watch it. I forced my boyfriend to watch it even though he was quite consentant to it, but yeah, he was quite sad about the fact that there is not really an end to it, but for me it could end like this and I would be okay. So now those are the most famous one. I needed to talk about them for sure, and I hear you, they're only long, super long mangas, but I'm gonna talk about lesser volume mangas, and the first one is Full Metal Alchemist by Hiromu Arakawa, one of my favorite, 27 volumes long. I watched the anime first. I'm Brotherhood team for sure because it's the most faithful to the manga, and I've read the manga. after, and I've rewatched the anime since with my boyfriend too. But this is taking place in Amestris, the capital of a huge country led by his president, who is also the military leader. The army is also supported by alchemists, state alchemists that serves the army, and I'm really torn between not saying too much but also talking to you about the summary that is everywhere on internet. But you're following two brothers, Edward and Alphonse, and their adventures and how they were influenced by alchemy and how they're using it. It's my favorite because the relation between the two brothers is so precious. I love them so much. It's quite short, it reads super quickly and also watches super quickly. There are some really brave, strong women with no focus on big breasts for this one, and I loved how the alchemy was paired with the military leading world and how it criticizes a dictatorial military government. So good. And be aware because it has some darker themes, even though it is categorized as a shonen, but so good. So good. Next you have Attack on Titan by Hajime Isayama. There are 34 volumes, and this is a story about Eren who dreams about going to the outside world, but it's not possible because they're surrounded by those big walls to prevent them from being attacked by titans, and they're the last representatives of humanity. But Eren is stubborn. He really wants to engage in the Exploration Battalion, which is a branch of the army that can go outside to gather information on the Titans to know how to fight them better. I don't want to tell you too much from there. This is so worth it. This is one of the best manga / anime ever, according to me. I watched the anime because I think it's really worth it. The animation, the songs, the dread you feel because of all the combination of how well it is done. And I tried to read the manga when the anime was not up to date to the manga. All of this is finished. It's all finished. So you can binge watch it easily. I remember that while reading the manga I had some trouble to distinguish the different characters. They were really looking alike. So yeah, definitely recommend according to me to watch the anime. It's so good, but beware because it is so violent. It's really raw. You see everything, and just watch out for the trigger warnings, and if you can get past it, if you're not too sensitive about it. It really explores very interesting themes such as what it means to be humans and part of the humanity. And there are such good plot twists that's taking a complete turn at some point, and it's widening even more what's happening. A genius. The author is a real genius. It's all I can say. Please watch it. Next you have Demon Slayer by Koyoharu Kotoge. It's 23 volumes long and it's finished. You have the anime also, but the anime is not finished yet. There are 2 movies that are coming out, including one in July in Japan. I can't wait. I really want to go to the movies to see it. This is about Tanjiro. He's the eldest of a big family. He has a lot of sisters and brothers, and he lives in a remote house in the forest in a world where demons exist. And I don't want to say too much. Again, I'm really part of the team not knowing too much before going into a new world. This is one of the best animation also ever. I really recommend to watch the anime, even though I've read the manga, also because I couldn't wait for the anime to catch up. But the anime is just so good, and Tanjiro is so endearing. He's part of the nicest guy ever in the manga world. He is so kind, maybe sometimes in a naive way, but I learned so much from him. He has no equal maybe for Naruto. Combat also. So good. You have also Wrecking of Kings by Sosuke Toga. There are currently 19 volumes and the anime also is ongoing. It's about Prince Boji, who is death, and he's the prince of a kingdom that is really prosper because of the king Bosu-sama, but he's ill and the future of the kingdom is really uncertain, so he's trying to get stronger, but he's really weak and everyone is kind of mocking him because of his disabilities. But he makes some encounters, some very cute encounters. I love him. Not saying too much. He's trying to find strength in other ways. And in that, I think it's so interesting and so beautiful how his disabilities are pictured and exploited. Boji is so precious. I love him. There are many emotional scenes and it can get quite dark sometimes. I can't wait to see how it's gonna unfold. Next, you have Kaiju number 8 by Matsumoto Aoya. There are 15 volumes ongoing currently. You have the anime also adaptation. This is taking place in a world where gigantic monsters can appear wherever in Japan. And there is a focus about Kafka Hibono, which is a 30 years old man who wanted to join the defense forces but failed the exams. He ends up cleaning the corpses, victims of those monsters, which is kind of a shitty job for him, according to him. You follow him from there. I'm currently reading it. I've paused it a little bit, but what I found super interesting about this manga is how a 30 years old is the main character of a shonen, which are typically depicting characters within the range of 12 to 18 years old, and this is quite funny. So if you're interested by it, cannot encourage you enough to start it. So now on to another genre, which is the historical fiction in mangas, focused on a certain period of time of history. The first one is Black Butler by Anatobo. So there are 34 volumes going on, and there's also an ongoing anime. I don't think the anime is covering the mangas fully, but it's here, it exists. This is set in a manor in England, which is the house of Ciel Phantomeve, who is a 12 years old orphan solo survivor of his family. He's a prominent figure in England. He's from a very rich family. He has a butler, Sebastian, and his butler seems to have some abilities, some talents, and you follow them from there. This is a gothic setting where they resolve mysteries. I don't want to say too much. Very Sherlock Holmes vibes. Next, you have Vinland Saga by Yukimura Makoto. There are 20 volumes going on, and there are also an anime adaptation with 2 seasons. I watched the anime and not read the manga, which is about Thorfinn, who watched his father murdered by a warlord. His father was a retired soldier who retired to enjoy his family. So you follow from there Thorfinn, who is going on a quest to avenge his father. So also this is set during the Northern Conquest between Denmark, England and everything. This is really a coming out of age story, how you forge your identity and the circle of vengeance. So deep in how it explores emotions, and at one point the manga takes a complete turn, which is so interesting. I could recommend you to read rather the manga, because the anime sometimes seems to rearrange the different timelines, but the anime is also very good. I watched it. Next, you have Vagabond by Takehiko Inoue. There are 37 volumes going on. This is set in the 1600 This is year 1600 after the Sekigahara battle, establishing the Tokugawa power, and you follow from there Musashi, who took part of the battle but deserted. So when he's going back to the village, he's rejected. So from there you follow him going on his quest to become the best samurai and practice his swords abilities. It's a crime that there's no anime for it, but also the drawing is so complex and so beautiful that it would be kind of difficult also to make an adaptation for it. So not too mad about that, but how beautiful this is. Even though the main character Musashi is flawed, you get attached to him, and to see their way of life at that time is just so interesting. So yeah, cannot recommend this enough to you. It's so good, but also the manga is kind of paused, so be prepared to maybe not have an end. Next, you have Kingdom by Yasuhisa Hara. There are 75 volumes going on. There is an anime, but I think it's really better to read the manga. You do as you want, always. It's only my opinion, but this is set in the kingdom of Kin, home to 2 orphans, Hyo and Shin. The 2 of them hope one day to serve their country by being part of the army, and they train every day for it, until one moment they get separated, but Shin is really determined to pursue his dream of being one of the greatest general ever. This is a long series, and I'm currently in the middle of it. I've read 26 volumes, and it's just so addicting, but also gruesome and violent on how realistic the wars are, but also you get attached so easily to the characters. Like, you really want to grow with Shane, you want to see where he's going and what goal he will achieve, and the drawings are just so beautiful. If you put horses aside of it, they're quite weird, but cannot recommend this enough. And this is inspired, of course, by the history of China's reunification. So good. Next, of course, you have Yona of the Dawn by Mizuho Kusanagi. There are 45 volumes going on. You have an anime also, but they discontinued the anime, and I know a lot of people are mad about it. This is the story of 3 children, Sonwoo, Yona, and Hak. Yona is the princess of the kingdom. Sonwoo is his cousin, and one of her dreams is to marry Sonwoo. Hak is a fighter. He's there to defend them. But someday a tragic event occurs, forcing Yona out of the castle and Hak to follow her and defend her, and you'll see how she evolves. This is really a coming out of age story, but I put it in historical fiction because this is not really focused on the romance that is going on, but rather on the fantasy historical fiction aspect of it, because at some point there are so many characters coming in the story, so many political stakes. The romance is really a subplot inside of it. I cannot stop reading it, it's so good. Of course, also I had to mention Diaries of an Apothecary by Neko Kurage. This is the adaptation of a light novel by Hyuga Natsu. There are 15 volumes currently, and there are more coming. I think it's going to be quite a short one. And there's the anime also. There's 2 seasons currently. At 17, Mao Mao was trained by an apothecary in the district pleasure until she's kidnapped and sold to the imperial court as a servant. And in this luxury prison, she's trying to hide her abilities to read and everything to avoid conspiracies and dirty tricks, but she cannot help to investigate sometimes on some mysteries. And not saying too much, but I love the main characters. I love how cold she can be sometimes, and how completely obsessed and mad about medicine and plants. She's just so funny. I love her, and love to see also how she's using different plants and different medicines. So interesting, really. Also to learn about how imperial courts are organized, how it's working with the concubines. This is also part of the comedy genre. I mean, read it and you'll see. That's all I can say. Or watch it. For sure. In historical fiction also you have Samurai Champloo, which is an anime. There are 26 episodes, so it's rather short. This is the story about Mugen, who is a fighter that fights rather wildly, and Jin, who is a highly skilled samurai, and the two of them crosses their path. And by the circumstances, they are going to travel together, and they will meet a third person, and they will go on a quest to find the samurai that smells like sunflower. How poetic this is. I don't remember much, to be honest, about this anime, but I really was stricken by the beautiful soundtracks by Nuchabes. It's still with me today. I still listen to him quite often, so just for that it's worth it, in my opinion. I'll need to rewatch it at some point. Other historical fiction that are on my radar for mangas are Lone Wolf and Cub, and also Blade of the Immortal. Next, onto the sports category, you have Haikyuu. This is by Furudate Haruichi. There are 45 volumes. The anime is not up to date yet. 2 movies are going to come out. This is about Hinata, who has a real talent for volleyball despite his size, but one day in middle school his team lost facing Tobio, and since that his team doesn't want to play anymore, and he decides to pick up volleyball again when he's going to secondary school. But he realizes that he's in the same team than Tobio. They're in the same school, and from there you'll see how they have to work together. I watched the anime of this one, and I remember how engaged I was during their games. It's crazy. I really felt like supporting them, even though I don't watch real, if I can say it like that. I don't watch sports usually, but this one is just so good, and characters are so precious. I love them so much. The aesthetic also of this anime, I'm sure the manga is cool too. I didn't read it, but so good. So good. I love it. First ever actual sports anime I watched is Kuroko no Basket by Fujimaki Tadatoshi. There are 30 volumes. It's finished. The anime is also finished. And this is the story about Kuroko, who is not really noticed by his peers, but somehow he was part of the Miracle Generation, which was a team that was unbeatable with such strong players. But when he arrives at his high school, the basketball team doesn't see how they can use him, but Taiga Kagami finds interest in him. One of his goals is to beat the Miracle Generation that are scattered among different high schools now. It was addicting, it was gripping, and even though I'm not into sports, as I've said, Kuroko is too precious not to watch him or to read about him, I'm sure. So I can only encourage you, if you have even the teeny tiny bit interest in sports, and even though if you have even the teeny tiny bit about human relations, go for it, because I'm not into sports and I loved it. That's the only two I've watched, but you have so many different mangas. You have Slam Dunk, which is really famous. You have Blue Lock, which is a newer one. You have the iconics Ashita Nojo, Hajime no Ippo, I Shield 21. I think I watched it when I was a kid, but I'm really not sure because I don't remember any of it. And you have Captain Tsubasa. Of course, for sure. Onto the fantasy category, one of my favorites. You have Dungeon Meshi, Delicious in Dungeons by Kui Ryoko. There are 14 volumes. It's finished. And you also have a Netflix adaptation. This is set in a D&D world. Laios' sister has been kidnapped by a dragon and they have to save her, but they failed, so they have to go back there again, but they have nothing left. No food, no money, so they doesn't know how to survive, but they only want to save the sister, so they go again despite everything, and they meet there a dwarf who will help them to make some food with the creatures that are in the dungeons. And this is also part of the comedy categories, and it's just so fun and so endearing. This is really a light read / anime you can watch when you don't want to think too much. You love the D&D world. It's such a good tribute to it. Next you have To Your Eternity by Uema Yoshitoki. There are 24 volumes going on, and also an anime ongoing. This is the story about a being in the form of a small sphere that is sent to the earth, and with every encounters he can change his forms because he's feeding on the knowledge of the other. Like when he meets, I don't know, a wolf, he can turn into a wolf. When he meets a little boy, he can turn into the little boy. They have the same appearance, and you don't know why he's here. He doesn't know too, and he's on this quest of identity, of discovering who he is. And it's such a unique manga. I'm only on volume 7, but it's so deep in emotions that I cried on volume 4, if I'm not mistaken, or 5, I don't remember. It's also part of the Drame category. Just so unique. I've never read anything like this. So if you're interested in it, I can only encourage you to read this. Next, you have The Children of the Whales by Umeda Abi. There are 23 volumes. It's finished. The anime is not up to date, and it stopped at volume 10, if I'm not mistaken, or 5. I've seen different things. I watched the anime. This is set in a world where there is nothing but sand, and there a gigantic ship is sailing through sand, and it's home of people that have the ability to use a certain type of magic, which is the Saimiya, based on their emotions, which is so interesting. They're close to the world outside of them until young Chakuru makes an encounter one day. The anime was so beautiful. The soundtracks also were so beautiful. I'm really mad about the fact that it was stop. I don't really have enough information about it, but I'm definitely gonna read it someday. It was kind of Ghibli-esque according to me. I'm intrigued by it. If you love very beautiful and poetic things, this might be for you for sure. I loved it. In the fantasy genre, you also have for sure Yona of the Dawn, which I talked about earlier. You also have Frieren. It's on my radar. I didn't watch it, but it was nominated for being one of the best anime this year. You also have The Witch Hat Atelier, which is on my radar for the longest time, but I have so many series going on. I need to finish some of them for sure. And now onto the dark fantasy with deeper, darker themes. First you have Made in Abyss by Tsukushi Akihito. There are 13 volumes ongoing, and you also have the anime and movies. I watched the anime. It's set in a world which have an abyss, a huge deep rift inhabited by really weird weird creatures and antique relics. And for years, this mysterious chasm have attracted many adventurers, including the mother of Rico, who calls themselves the Caverniers. Despite the fact that her mother disappeared, the dream of Rico is to go there too and try to go on the steps of her mother and discover what she became. And from there, beware, because you think at first that it is kind of a naive, really cute anime / manga, but it gets only darker and darker, and it's such a unique story. You get attached to the characters for sure, and the world building is so fantastic. I have no other words for it. It's also part of the science fiction genre, so if this interests you, I can only encourage you to read / watch it. Really recommend you to watch it also because it's beautiful, but you can definitely read it. Next, in the same vibes of dark and weird plot twists, when you think at first it's a cute story, you have Shinsekai Yori, which is from the New World. It's a short anime and it's the adaptation of a light novel by Yusuke Kishi. It follows Saki, who lives in a very quiet village and at the age of 12 have discovered her powers, so she goes in a kind of school to learn how to manipulate her powers and meets their 4 other friends, and from there you follow them. You have to watch it to feel it, you know. It's at first you really think it's a cute thing, kind of shallow. It drags a little bit through the story. You're like, why am I watching this? And at the end, everything makes sense. The choice of narration is so interesting. I'm still thinking about it some days because the end is so disturbing. Don't want to say too much, just watch it. It's quite short. It also has queer representation, which I did not expect. So if you're interested in sci-fi, thriller, queer kind of stories, and if you're against queer representation, please just leave this video because I'm gonna talk about queer representation also later. So leave this video and take my words for it. It's so weird, but in the best way possible. If you're not satisfied by this anime, just comment and we're gonna talk about it. Next, of course, you have a mainstay in the dark fantasy genre, which is Berserk by Kentaro Miura. There are 42 volumes going on, but you have to know that the author died in 2020, if I'm not mistaken, due to some illness. His team is continuing his work. We have 1 volume, 32, that came out after his death, so it might continue, but we are not sure about it, so just be aware of that. Set in a medieval world, you follow Guts, who is a mercenary and he wants to take his destiny in his own hands. But one day he's forced to be part of the Falcons, which is a troop of mercenaries. It's led by Griffiths. From there you see where it's going and be aware again of the trigger warnings. One of the toughest, weirdest thing to watch ever. Like really have to be open-minded or not sensitive reading about this. But the drawings are so beautiful and it explores human emotions so well, and the intrigue is just so gripping. Cannot recommend this enough. Next, you also have Dorohedoro by Hayashida. There are 23 volumes. It's finished. And you also have an adaptation. There's 1 season and I watched it. It has a very dark tone of humor. This is so unique because you follow Kaiman, who has the head of a Kaiman, and he's looking for the person who turned him into a Kaiman. He wants to get his head back. You want to know why he has this also for sure, and he encounters some companions on his way. The aesthetic of it all is just so cool. Alright, I don't have any battery left, so the camera is gonna move a little bit. Alright, a little change of frame. You also have on the dark fantasy category Claymore. I've heard a lot about, but could not come to read it yet. But next, onto the science fiction category, you have Pluto by Naoki Urasawa. It has 8 volumes only and a great anime adaptation by Netflix. This is the story of Mont Blanc, a very famous robber who was murdered. And while the world is mourning, Inspector Gesicht, I'm butchering the name for sure, he is a very tired robot inspector and he's trying to find some clues, but it happens to be very difficult to. And he decides to go to talk to Mont Blanc former war comrades. They thought together during the Asian War. It's also part of the thriller genre. It's a beautiful also tribute to Astro Boy. It's a captivating thriller. Emotions are really beautifully pictured in this manga, despite the fact that they are robots and what it means to be a robot, how different they are from humans, and who is the real cold-hearted one, you know, and cannot recommend this enough, especially because it's such a short manga and you can watch the anime too if you want. In the science fiction genre, you also have Akira by Otomo Katsuhiro. There are 6 volumes, and there is also a movie you can watch. This is such a beautiful mainstay of the cyberpunk genre. This is set 30 years after the Third World War in Tokyo, now named Neo Tokyo, and the world is devastated, and there are some youth gangs, and the revolution that is building up because there are a military despotism is around Akira, a child who seems to have a lot of psychic powers. So post-apocalyptic vibes with military despotism and cyberpunk setting. You have to agree to not understand everything. You just have to agree to go with the flow with this one. So worth it. You have another one, Parasite by Iwaki Hitoshi. There are 10 volumes, yes, and there are also an anime adaptation, which is super good. I watched this one. While in Japan, strange worms are landing on Earth, and you follow Jinchi, who is a young student, and he makes the disgusting discovery that a worm is trying to enter his body, and from there you follow what's happening. To be honest, I don't really remember what's happening in this story and in the anime. It was a long time ago. I need to rewatch it, but I've heard only good things about this one. It's so short, you can really binge watch it also and binge read it. Next you have Assassination Classroom by Matsui Yusei. You have 21 volumes with this one, and there's also an anime. Watch the anime. This is the story about a strange creature who has tentacles and a smiley face, but somehow he's so powerful he managed to drill a hole in the moon, making it a crescent form, and then he has some conditions to the government to prevent to make the same things to the earth. It's to become a teacher in a remote school in the mountains, and the condition is that their students manage to kill him. Weird and unique, right? So intriguing. While it's not my favorite aesthetic, it's really funny. It's also part of the comedy genre and really intriguing. Like, you want to see where it's going, and the end, I mean, it's good from the beginning till the end. At first you're like, where is this going? But it's so beautiful on how it portrays emotions also. So interesting. Another mainstay that has very vintage vibes is Battle Angel Alita, which in French it's Gun, in Japanese also, by Kishiro Yukito. There are 9 volumes, and there is also an anime. This story focuses on Alita, who is found completely in morsels on a junkyard by a cybernetics doctor who rebuilds her, and she doesn't remember who she is. He names her Gali Alita, and she just remembers that she knows a cyber or martial art, which is the Panzerkunst, and she wants to become a hunter warrior. Such a badass female character. I love this. It's so short. It's really about identity quest, of course, and sometimes gender discrimination. Loved it. You also have the anime Cowboy Bebop, which is so good. This is the story of Jet and Spike, who have teamed up to hunt down outlaws that has a bounty on their head. Follow them on their adventures on their spaceship, going from planets to planets, and the aesthetic of it is super cool. One of the main character is named Valentine Faye, so love her. The soundtracks, so precious. It's jazzy vibes. So cool. And it's quite short also, so you can binge watch it. So in this category of genre, you also have Violet Evergarden, Gintama, Made in Abyss, of course. You have Neon Genesis Evangelion. You have Aria, Blame, and Dead Demons Destruction. I'm really intrigued about this one. Then you also have the Isekai category, which means in another world. This is depicted mainly characters who has to survive in another world and who can't return to their original world, and often they're transported to fantasy game world. It's not my favorite genre, but I have one example. I began to watch Sword Art Online, which is a light novel first by Reiki Kawahara. They made a virtual reality with the headset. You can enter a different role in the type of MMORPG, but someday 10,000 of people get trapped. They cannot get out, and the only way to get out is to finish the game. It's nice. It's cool to watch, but it's not my favorite, so you might be intrigued by it and definitely give it a try if it might interest you. In this category, you have also Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, The Faraway Paladin, ReZero, and That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. I heard this one is really funny. I'm not gonna watch or read any of those ones soon, but feel free to do it if you're interested by them. In the horror category, of course, you have the master Junji Ito. You can read any of his manga. I've read Tomie, which was his first manga, and fun fact, he was a dentist before publishing his first manga, Tomie. Quite enjoyed it, but it was not my favorite. I found that it was a bit repetitive, but I've read fragments of horror and really liked it. I plan to read No Longer Humans for the summer wind. Next, you have Dragonhead by Minetaru Mochizuki. There are 10 volumes, and this is the story of students coming back home from a school trip by train, and a catastrophe occurs, and you see how they survive, and the drawings are so beautiful, and this explores how humans evolves in very critic, pushing situation, and so short you can binge read it for sure. Next, also you have Tokyo Ghoul by Ishida Sui. There are 14 volumes, and you also have an anime that is finished. Kaneki Ken is an 18-year-old student, and he lives in a world where ghouls are eating humans, and he's not really caring that much now for those incidents, but there is a turn of events for sure that is gonna change everything in his life. And this is such a dark world setting, exploring also what it means to be human. I watched the anime of this one, but it's known for deviating a bit from the manga, so I would want you to read the manga instead of watching the anime, maybe the anime after, to see the differences. I think it's kind of a controversial anime/manga. Not everyone loves it, but you can definitely try and give it a go if it interests you for sure. Next, you have also I Am a Hero by Hanazawa Kango. You have 22 volumes and it's finished. In his 30s, Hideo Suzuki is an assistant mangaka, and he's struggling to make a place out of his career, and his girlfriend is always talking to him about how his ex-boyfriend was such a genius, well-known mangaka, so he's kind of fed up with it. An epidemic is going on, and you'll see where it's going. But if you love zombies, and this is also a comic manga according to me, so fun, and I love when mangas are depicting 30 years old characters. They're just so interesting and so funny. I started it, but as I borrowed them, I did not get the other one, and I need to finish it, but it looks just so good. So in the horror category that I've mentioned already, you have also Dorohedoro, Berserk, and Parasite for sure. Now onto the comedy category, you have One Punch Man by the scenarist One and the drawer Yusuke Murata. You have 33 volumes ongoing and an anime too. I chose to put this one in the comedy, even though it is mainly put in the action/science fiction genre, because just here the synopsis I found, I don't want to touch it because it's so funny. Saitama, a young man without a job, depressed and with no real purpose in life. One day he meets a monster who is looking for a young boy with a cleft chin like an arse, as he puts it. Saitama eventually meets this young boy and decides to save him from the crab man, who he manages to beat with difficulty. From then on, Saitama decided to become a superhero and tried very seriously for 3 years, 100 push-ups, 100 squats and 100 sit-ups, and 10 kilometers of running every day without heating or air conditioning. At the end of his training, which was so intense he lost his hair, He noticed that he had become so strong that he could now beat all his opponents with a single punch. Watch the anime, it was so funny, but somehow I disengaged from it. I need to finish it at some point, but so funny. Also have Spy X Family by Endo Tetsuya. You have 15 volumes ongoing and an anime also. This is the story about Twilight, who is one of the world's renowned spy, and he has a mission to break into the most prestigious school, and for that he's going to build a family. He needs a child for sure, and he will adopt a child who has telepathic mind, and he doesn't know it, and she's not telling it. And he's finding a wife who also is a contract killer. So you can see how this can lead to some very comic situation. It's super cute, and I paused it for some reason. I need to continue it, but it's really heartwarming. Next you have Sakayamoto Days by Suzuki Yuto. There are 22 volumes going on, an anime also adaptation. This is about Taro Sakamoto, who is a legendary assassin until he wants to quit because he met the love of his life. And he married, and with life happening he gained some weight. He retired, but the world of assassin doesn't forgive him for being retired, and when assassins tries to go and avenge and kill him, they underestimate him because he gained some weight and he didn't lost any of his abilities, and the way he's fighting is just so funny. I love him. Really endearing. I love the characters, and it's just a light-hearted story you can watch and read. In the supernatural paranormal category, now you have Soiled Bone Hanako-kun by Aida Hiro. There are 23 volumes going on and an anime adaptation also that is just beautiful, the colors. And the school of Kamome has the rumor that it has 7 mysteries within its wall. Among these, there is one unexplained mystery that one spirit, Hanako, is hunting the toilet, and that this spirit can grant any wishes if you find it. Nene Yashiro, a second year student at this school, has a big crush on the boy, but he doesn't love her back. So the only solution she can find is to wish for it, and from there you see the adventure. It's really super cute. I've watched season 1, the second season is out I think, but did not watch it yet. It's also super funny and quite unique. You also have Dan Dan by Tatsu Yokinobu. There are 19 volumes going on, and you have also the anime, a first season that has come out already, and I think the second one is coming out in July 25. You follow Momo Ayase, who believes in ghosts, and Ken Takakura, who believes in aliens, and they make fun of each other because they doesn't believe in the belief of the other, so they want to prove them wrong. I put it in paranormal, but it's on a very humorous tone also, and the animation is really quite unique. But I think reading the manga can also be fun, but it can get quite dark also sometimes. Be aware of that, in the sense that there is some violences, so make sure to check the trigger warnings first. How not to talk about the elephant in the room, Jujutsu Kaisen by Akutami Kege. There are 30 volumes out and it's finished, but you also have the anime, which is not finished yet, the Shibuya arc. Just so good. In a world in Japan where there are many disappearances unexplained, Yuji Tadori, a secondary school student, is part of the spiritualistic club in his school. He doesn't believe them, but his strength really helps them when they want to investigate, and he's gonna learn in the hardest way possible what's happening, why those people are disappearing. The aesthetic, the animation, I think watching it is really worth it. I didn't try to read it. The animation is such a masterpiece. So good. Then you also have Chainsaw by Fujimoto Tatsuki. There are 20 volumes ongoing. You also have the anime. To pay off his debts, Teiji, he's really poor, like he's in proper misery, surviving, and he is exploited by the Devilman and his demon dog Pochita. But at some point he can see a way out of his misery in a very weird way. This is really so unique. I read another manga from this author, Fire Punch, which has 8 volumes. Same, I've never read anything like it. It's set in a supernatural post-apocalyptic world. You follow a continually burning man, and through the volumes you learn how he became like this. Yeah, don't want to say too much, but so unique, and at some point the author is breaking the fourth wall with the reader. Genius. And the drawings were okay, they were really good. not my favorite. So I think that's why you can watch the anime for Chainsaw Man too, but try the manga if you want, for sure. Then you have the anime Devilman Cry Baby, which is originally from the work of Gonaga. It's a Netflix adaptation, and this is just so unique. Also, of course, beware of the trigger warnings for this one. It's not a joyful ride, for sure. This is about Akira Fudo, who is a shy and insecure boy. He is really fed up with himself when he cannot defend his friends from thugs, and at some point his childhood friend Ryo comes and defends him with a gun and explains to him that he made a discovery that demons exist in this world and they are going to free themselves from the polar world. So psychedelic. This one is so psychedelic, but it's the adaptation of a mainstay in the genre that inspired Berserk, Akira, even Evangelion and Parasite. So masterpiece, a real masterpiece. In this category you also have, of course, Demon Slayer and Tokyo Ghoul, which we talked about earlier. And now onto the romance genre. You have first Blue Flag by Kaito. There are 8 volumes, so super short, you can binge read it. Taichi has entered his 3rd year in high school, and in his class he has Touma Mita, which is a very popular guy, part of the sports team, and his childhood friend Futaba Kuse. And Futaba has a major crush on Touma, and he's gonna try to help her to seduce him. And this trio is just so precious. Oh, loved it. It really explores different type of love, and that's always so appreciated. Then you have A Sign of Affection, of course, my current obsession by Sue Morishita. There are 12 volumes ongoing, and I think there's an anime. Didn't look for it, but I think I'll just put it. Future me will know. Yuki is a student and she's deaf, and you're following her in her daily life until she meets Itsuomi on the train while going to university. Someone is asking her for direction, but she doesn't hear, so he comes to the rescue a little bit and responding in English because it's a foreigner speaking English. And from there the relation develops and you follow them, and it's so cute, so heartwarming, so kind. I'm addicted. Every volume is left with a cliffhanger. I love this so much. Next, of course, you have Nana by Yazawa Ai. There are 21 volumes going on, but keep in mind that because of the author's illness, it's hanging for several years without any end resolving it. That's quite a bummer, but still worth it to read. I think it's a mainstay in the romance genre. You follow 2 girls that meet on the train, and they're both named Nana. They both are going to Tokyo, and they both have the same age, 20. From there, you follow them if they are encountering again or not, and you follow their relationships. I love how different they are. Like, Nana is a musician, very gothic vibes, and the other Nana is a very girly, all pink, love strawberries, really into love type of girl. I have such good memories. This is actually the very first manga I've read because I borrowed it from one of my cousins. It has a special place in my heart. So in the romance genre, you also have Violet Evergarden, Yona of the Dawn, Fruits Basket for sure, and Orange, that I would love to read one day when I'm gonna be old and retired. Now onto the boys' love. You have Sasaki and Miyano by Haruso no Ishio. There are 10 volumes ongoing and an anime. Also, Miyano is a high school student. He is very complexed by his effeminate face, and he loves to read boys' love, and at some point he's witnessing a fight, but he doesn't really know what to do, and another boy comes in to defend and fight, so he's really impressed, and the two of them get to talk a little bit. He's called Sasaki, and together they get to talk a little bit, and Miyano is kind of initiating Sasaki into the boys' love because Sasaki is really intrigued by it, and you follow their relationship, and it's just so cute. I'm not up to date, and I thought that at some point it was getting not weird, but it was turning a point that I was not a huge fan of, but I'm gonna continue for sure. That's the only one I've read for now, but you also have Given, which is very famous. I would love to read one day. You also have The Two Lions, and I don't know if the two have sexual content, but read it and you'll find out for yourself. You also have Sekaiichi Atsukoi, Jonjo Romantica, and Stage Super Lovers. For the girls' love, I've never read any yet, but I've heard a lot about Bloom Into You, Donuts Under a Crescent Moon, and Goodbye My Rose Garden. I have two with transgender representation. It's not a huge thing in Japan, but it's coming little by little. You have Boys Run the Riot, which is also written by a transgender mangaka, which is super cool, and Our Dreams at Dusk. Would love to read them at some point. Onto the drama psychologic categories, my favorite one, as it destroys you to the core. You have Goodbye Pun Pun by Asano Inio. There are 13 volumes. It's finished. And you follow Pun Pun, which is a different type of character with his family because he's drawn as a bird in 2 dimensions, whereas the other characters are really drawn with beautiful details. So it's super unique and interesting. I think that's part of the things that made this manga famous, on top of the fact that this is exploring human emotions in the darkest way. Loneliness, coming out of age, depression. Just be aware of the trigger warning before reading it, because we'll not come out of it the same person for sure. I was so turned upside down. It left a big hole in my heart for sure, and I was always questioning myself as why am I reading this? If you feel like it, give it a try for sure. Of course, you have A Silent Voice by Oyama Yoshitoki. There are 7 volumes of the manga, but also a movie, which is just so good. You follow Shoku in middle school and she's deaf, and Shoya, who is a young boy who loves to make pranks and gets into mischiefs and cause trouble, and he's making fun of her because of her disability, and he starts to bully her because he doesn't really know how to deal with her. But the class follows him, and their teacher doesn't really support Shoka in all of this. From here you see how it's evolving and how it's impacting her life, and how it's also impacting the life of the bully. So beautiful, hard sometimes to read and to watch. It explores the human feelings in such a beautiful way. Cannot recommend it enough. Then you have Banana Fish by Akemi Yoshida. There are 19 volumes and it's finished. In 1973, during the Vietnamese War, a soldier loses his mind and he doesn't really know how, and he got killed because he tried to kill his comrades. And this was the older brother of a youth that became the leader of a youth gang in New York, and at some point he gets informations in the streets while fighting for something. And you follow from there where he's going and where it's going, because he's meeting a Japanese who's here to assist a photographer and take Ash, the younger brother of the one who died, and the assistant photographer is Eiji. And you see from there how everything is connected, but also be aware that the life of Ash was not easy at all. Really dramatic events in his life, but the characters are really enduring. It's not my favorite type of drawings, but still very enjoyable for sure. And their relationship is so precious. Loved it. Next you have Rainbow by Abe George. Abe George. There are 22 volumes and an anime also, and it's finished. In Japan, in the year 1955, after the World War, the Second World War, it's a devastated country which is facing poverty and crime on the rise, and there you follow 17 teenagers who are incarcerated in reformatory for various crimes: murder, violence, theft, and you see their daily life there. How are their conditions? And maybe you can predict that it's not going very well. It's quite violent. Be aware of the trigger warnings, please protect yourself. I started to read the manga that I borrowed and I need to finish it. It's just so interesting to see the post-World War II Japan, and which is interesting also is that the mangaka also was incarcerated in reformatories, so he's really depicting a realistic setting there, which is even more frightening. So yeah, if you have the guts for it, go for it. In the drama genre, I also have Fire Punch, Full Metal Alchemist, and Attack on Titan. Only good titles. Also in the Furyo category, which is basically representing young thugs, you have GTO by Fujisawa Toru. I watched the anime, but I'm not really a huge fan. It's just a mainstay in the genre, but would not specifically recommend it by the fact that It's beautiful in the way that he's teaching life lessons and protecting people. He's very protective, but obsessed with young girls, and I was just fed up with it. No, thank you. There's also one I didn't watch but have on my radar is Tokyo Revenger in the thriller genre. You have any Naoki Urasawa for sure. You have 20th Century Boys, which has 22 volumes. You follow in two different timelines. First, I'm gonna only talk about the 1997 timelines with Kenji, who runs a convenience store, and the death of one of his childhood friends reunites all his childhood comrades. At the same time, there is the guru of a sect rising, and you'll see how everything is linked. He's such a genius. I love him. This one might look like it drags a little bit because every time you feel like you're moving into the story, he gets you even more lost, but somehow it's still gripping. That's why he's a genius, and the way he's depicting some characters that you saw only for a few pages and you're already crying for them, genius. So by Naoki Urasawa, I'm currently reading also Monster, which is so good. You follow a surgeon, a Japanese surgeon who came in Germany to build a career there, and he decides at one point, even though he was on the path to have a great career, he was really on the verge of it, he decides to overrun the order of the director of the hospital to operate on the mayor. He decides instead to operate on a child. Don't want to say too much, and he's gonna regret his choice. You'll see why. It's so good. I cannot wait to see how everything unfolds, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be one of my favorites. Next, you have Death Note by Obata Tsugumi. There are 12 volumes plus the 13th one, which is kind of not really a spin-off, but interesting either way. Not rambling too much, but this is the story, maybe you know it already, of Light Yagami, who is a real serious student. He's a genius. He only has good grades, but one day he finds on the ground a curious notebook, and he learns soon that there is a god of death, a Shinigami, who is related to this notebook, and you can write the name of anybody and this person's die. There are some conditions and everything, but how that, like, the premise of this did not intrigue you, it's not possible. I mean, it's already a well-known manga and anime. The anime is quite good also, but I've read the manga. The anime I've not watched, but I've heard that the soundtracks are really beautiful also. At some point there is a turn in the manga that made everything, I think, a little bit less entertaining in my point and in the point of view of a lot of people too, but it's still super worth it to read, super short. You can binge read it for sure. The aesthetic, the gothic vibes, the plot twists, I'm in love with the gothic vibes for sure. Ryuk, my man, it's the Shinigami. It's just one of the most aesthetic characters of all time for me. Love him. I plan to try to find a figurine here in Japan of him, which I did not come across yet. Sad about it. Then you have Erased by Sanbeke. There are 9 volumes, and you also have the anime that I watched. Satoru is a mangaka who struggles to rise in his career, so he's delivering pizza to make the end meet. He's not really open to the other, but he's really observant of the world around him, and he has the power of, when near a tragic incident incoming, being thrown back to try to prevent that incident. This is just so emotional, and the plot twists are so good. Cannot recommend this enough to you. Please check the trigger warnings also for sure. This is so short, you can binge watch it or binge read it. Either way, as you want. Have also The Promised Neverland by Shirai Kayu. The scenarist and the drawer is Demisu Posuka. There are 20 volumes, it's finished. And there is an anime also, but I really recommend to read the manga instead, because I watched the anime and did not finish it because apparently it deviates a lot from the manga and it's not faithful to it. And this is the story about Emma, an orphan in an orphanage. Even though they're really well taken care of, they cannot really go outside and they're wondering about it. Emma and her friends are asking themselves why, and they're soon gonna discover some really dark secrets surrounding this orphanage. I remember that watching the anime, I felt such dread. I cannot even imagine how the manga must have felt. I really need to finish it at some point. It's a crime how many series I have going on for mangas because of the delay between anime and manga sometimes, or just how long they're going out, the volumes. I paused a lot of them. Also in the thriller genre, you have of course Pluto and The Summer Hikaru Died. I'm really intrigued by this one. I would love to read it someday. Last category is the survival game. It's where characters are transported in a setting where they have to kill each others in order to survive. This is really more complex and dark than the Isekai category. You have for sure Alice in Borderland by Aso. You have 18 volumes, it's finished, and you also have a live action Netflix adaptation, which is quite good, but it deviates a bit from the manga. I've not read the manga. I only watched the first season of the live action, but I've heard it's such a mainstay. I need to read it at some point, such as Battle Royale by Takami Koshun. You have 15 volumes, it's finished, but you have also a movie, a Japanese movie about it, and this is such a mainstay in the genre because it inspired the whole Battle Royale world, like the games and the movies, and such famous games like Fortnite or even the series Squid Game. It usually criticizes society through violence and competition. Okay guys, that's it. We definitely made it. That's incredible. Thank you. Thank you for staying there, and congratulations. You know, not everything, but a huge part of the manga world now, and anime. Please feel free to comment about your favorite mangas or animes that I did not mention, or if you're watching some of them because of me and you liked it, please tell me also, or if you did not like them, please tell me also. And as always guys, thank you for clicking, thank you for watching till the end. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thus to see you on the next one, and with that I need to say bye.